Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Planet Bike Dual Blaze 1500 bike headlight. The Dual Blaze 1500 is one of Planet Bike's brightest headlights to date and puts out impressive 1500 lumens from the dual LED setup. It's really developed to light up the night and combines modern technology with Planet Bike's iconic output modes. You can see packaging wise, also very iconic. You have the red right over the cardboard and this almost hypnotized like circular pattern around it. So it looks really cool on the shelf, and you can actually see the light with this little cutout down the middle, so you know exactly what you're getting. Full specs are printed on the back, and of course FL1 testing and all of the specs and everything you need right there at your fingertips. Let's go ahead and take it out of the box and go over those specs. So retail price on this is $100, so pretty reasonable as with a lot of Planet Bike products. Carries a 2-year warranty, and Planet Bike is really good about customer service, so it's a great company you can really trust. It has a 1500 lumen output, and again, that's FL1 tested, so unlike a lot of the cheap Amazon lights, you can actually trust that it really puts out 1500 lumens. It has dual Nichia LEDs, and you can see you have a standard lens on one side, and then diffused one on the other for a better flood type beam. You have fast charging USB Type-C, which is great to see. So that supports USB C2C charging, and allows the light to get 3.5 hour charge time from empty. You have a 5000 milliamp lithium ion battery. So I believe that's a dual 18650 cells directly in here from Samsung. So it's good to have higher end batteries here. And daytime visible Superflash mode. So if you're familiar with Planet Bike, you'll know Superflash from their taillights. That's also here, and that gives you daytime visibility from up to half a mile away, even in the bright sun. So a great safety feature when you're riding in the day. In terms of what comes with it, obviously you get the headlight. You have their cam style mount. So this is actually zip tied on here. I'll have to cut it off. But tool-free slide-on design. USB Type-C charging cable. And again, great to see USB Type-C. You don't have to worry about finding serial cables or micro USB cables. You can all just share your USB Type-C. Little instruction manual on how to adjust the mount and how to operate the light, and that's about it. Now let's take a look at the weight of the light. So just the headlight by itself, that comes in at 166 grams, while the mount comes in at 26. Now let's go over the fit and finish of the Dual Blaze 1500. It's a fairly large all-in-one style bike headlight that utilizes a dual LED setup. Most of the body appears to be dominated by that 5000 milliamp battery. I expect there to be probably two 18650 lithium ion cells side by side here, with a lens just taking up the front section. It appears to be a two-piece design. You can see that little separation line all the way around, where the top is what feels to be metal, and then the bottom appears to be plastic. You can see the different textures too. This has a little bit more of a texture to it, while the top is more smooth. Simple all black design, no colors obviously available, although it'd be great to see that. And you have these chevrons embossed right onto it. So you can see that texture on here. Makes it easier to hold, like a flashlight, and also helps with some of the heat dissipation that you get in the higher output modes. In terms of mounting the light, you can see it has a slot design. So unfortunately, it's not a Garmin design. It's one of their own proprietary ones. So this slides in, locks into place, and then even has a little bit of side-to-side adjustment. To remove it, you just push down on the tab and then slide forward. It's a pretty simple design that works well, but obviously a more common Garmin style would allow you to mount this upside down or on out front mounts. This is a fairly nice mount design. I believe it's the A3 cam. So it's almost like a pivoted cam here, so you can see how this just rotates around. Opens up, so tool free, nice big thumb screw. So you slide it into the slot and then lock it down. You can see it's developed for 3 different handlebar sizes. This is the 22 millimeter setup, so you can see very small. Great for commuters or beach cruisers. And then you can go all the way to 26 or 31.8. You have to simply remove that screw and then adjust the position of the tab. And you can bring it out to accommodate the wider handlebars. So it's a nice design, and definitely a lot easier to use than some of the other mounts we've seen. And you can see again, a little bit of side-to-side play with the way it's designed. The light has a dual LED setup, and you can see you have a standard cone on the front, right, and then on the left side you have these diffusers. And that helps diffuse the light. So it really spreads it out more like a flood beam, and it's great for the low mode. It's a simple total internal reflection design, so you can see very compact. You can actually peek inside, so it's reflected on the inside, and then the reflector simply pushes the light out like a comb. And then on the top, you have this little extension. This is great for riding, so you don't want to be above it and then seeing the glare. So helps protect you from the glare. Simple branding on here, Dual Blaze 1500 printed on one side, Planet Bike on the top. You also have the light and lock mode sticker right on here. So you might notice it doesn't turn on. So this actually comes in a lock mode. You hold it for a few seconds, and then it should flash. And now it's unlocked. So lock mode is designed for storage. So if you don't want the light to automatically turn on or accidentally turn on, you can lock it in place because this button is a little bit raised. So if you were to put it somewhere, it could accidentally turn on. Otherwise, very simple interface. So one button, it's backlit once you get a low battery level. And then you can see the beam on here. It looks like it's kind of flashing, but it's actually two constant modes. So you have three constant modes, low, medium, high. And then you have their Superflash, which is really crazy. So this is great for daytime visibility. So if you're ever riding on the road and you want to make sure you're seeing, that actually flashes between these two at a really kind of irregular pattern, so it catches people's eyes. You also have the USB Type-C charging port right on the back. So again, you can use your existing cables, and it does support USB C2C, so you can plug this directly into your USB-C port for charging. The Dual Blaze has 4 different output modes. You have a 1500 lumen high mode that's good for 2.5 hours, medium that's 800 lumens and 6 hours, and then low mode, which is 400 lumens and 12 hours and uses that separate LED. With Superflash, it alternates between the two LEDs with a really distinct and bright pattern that's good for 45 hours, and you would want to use Superflash in the daytime to really help with your daytime visibility. For nighttime riding, the low, medium, and high modes are definitely more useful. Low mode uses that other LED, so you can see it's very wide and diffused beam. That's great for urban riding or places where you have a lot of other lights on the road and you just want a little bit of extra illumination. We found medium to be a pretty good option for nighttime riding on darker trails, and it's pretty bright as it combines both LEDs. And then high mode is a good option if you're riding faster. We're also impressed with the beam pattern. Even though it uses a fairly basic reflector, you can see it has a fairly focused beam that's about a car width in front of you. And then the more diffused second LED throws some light to the side so you can actually do corners and see what's around you. Well, the one problem with this light is the fact that you do have to cycle through that Superflash mode. So if you want to go back to a lower setting, it's a one-level menu, and that's kind of distracting. So you do want to be careful there. And there is no battery indicator, so it only tells you when it's low. So you want to make sure you top it off before you ride. Now let's compare the Dual Blaze with other lights on the market. We've done quite a few Magicshine light reviews. This is the RN1500. It has this cool anodized finish, which is pretty rare. Most lights are black, like the Planet Bike. Similar sizing in terms of length, but it's a single LED versus a dual, and it has a 21700 lithium-ion battery, so same 5000 milliamp capacity, but smaller because you don't have two cells. You have a single cell down the middle. Magicshine also has a couple advantages over Planet Bike with their backlit indicator. So this actually gives you a 3-level battery indicator, so green, red, or flashing red, while Planet Bike just gives you the low one. And Planet Bike does not have a Garmin mount, so this is a Garmin mount, and it's compatible with quite a few accessories on the market, so helmet mounts, out front mounts, versus proprietary one where you have to buy their own adapters if they're available. So it would have been nice to see that with Planet Bike, but otherwise similar pricing and same 1500 output. Fenix is also a pretty cool competitor in this space. So 1600 lumens from the BC26R. Same longer style body. Feels more premium. You have that kind of bronze button. Very similar to Magicshine with the backlit button, little side cutouts. And what's cool about Fenix is that you do have a replaceable battery cell, which is really rare. So they do that with their flashlights and then kind of extending that technology here. So you can see 5000 milliamps and it takes up pretty much the same amount of space, but a little more compact than a dual separate 18650 setup. The Fenix actually uses the same style mount though, so you can see same slot style, and if you put their mount side by side, very similar too. So again, a cam design, so it's kind of hinged with a thumb screw on top, lets you easily adjust it. What's nice about the Planet Bike one is you do get the different handlebar lengths by just taking off the cap and adjusting the position. There's also other dual LED setups. The Alti 2000 here, a little bit more expensive, but you do get a screen, which is really cool. And then you get the DRLs, which is another nice feature. So if you're riding during the day, this takes very little battery and keeps you visible. So nice feature. Garmin mount, and you can see it actually has a cartridge battery here. So this rear part is replaceable for about $70 or $80. So not a bad deal, but obviously the light is more expensive and you get more features. If you need more power, you can also get larger all-in-one lights. This is a 6 LED setup from Moon Sport. So the ride you'll power, 3600 lumen. So definitely overkill for most typical riding unless you're a mountain biker, and a lot heavier and bulkier. If you need more lumens, I highly recommend going toward a wired setup. This is the Magicshine 902S, and you can see much more compact because the head unit is just the LEDs and the Garmin mount with the heat fins. So really it's just half that for the LEDs. And you can see the downside is you have a big bulky battery that you do need to mount on your bike. So I definitely recommend picking the one that works for you. If you're more of a commuter or more road cyclist and you don't want a big bulky battery, then something like the Dual Blaze 1500 is a good option. But there are other options. So if you want something more compact, these a little bit more narrow of a form factor, then Magicshine and Fenix are good ones to consider. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Dual Blaze 1500. What I like about it is that it's well priced, as a lot of Planet Bike lights. They're really affordable and have that great customer support. It also has a nice dual beam LED design, which has a well balanced beam, so it's pretty focused in front of you and has a nice width to it. We also like the fact that you have USB Type-C charging port that even supports USB C2C, so you don't have to worry about finding more cables. Some of the negatives for the light is the fact that it does use a proprietary mount instead of a more generic Garmin mount, so you're kind of stuck using their adapters or their mount that's included with the light. It also lacks a multi-level battery status indicator. You just have a low one, so you want to make sure you keep topping it off. And you also have to cycle through the flash modes to get through the different constant options. So it's a one-level menu, so you have to be careful with that and quickly go through it, as the flash mode can be a little distracting at night. Taking everything into account, we give the light an 8.5 out of 10. It's a nice, simple, bright LED front headlight. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.